You're welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. With fewer and fewer numbers of women getting involved in Nigeria's governance structure, either on elective or appointive basis, a call is being made for a comprehensive political reform that will take greater cognizance of the natural capacity of women as effective partners in development. What must be done to begin to tap into this God-given resource and potential treasure trove of practical solutions to the myriad socio-political and economic challenges facing Nigeria? Well, that call is currently being championed in the House of Representatives by Honorable Kafilat Ogbara, who represents Koshofe Federal Constituency of Lagos State. She's also the chairman, House of Representatives Committee on Women Affairs and Social Development. She's joining us now on the morning show. Good morning, Honorable Kafilat Ogbara. Should I call you my MD or my Honorable? Thank you for having me. Anyone. All right, good to have you. Were you in National Mirror? We will discuss that later. All right, so good to have you on the morning show today. It's 1 year into this new administration. And of course, you know, it's also 1 year into you joining the House of Representatives. And thankfully, as the chair of the Committee for Women Affairs and Social Development, what will be your assessment of the first 1 year, and in particular, that of your committee in looking into the issues affecting women and social development in general?
Thank you very much. Well, the fact is that it is wide knowledge that generally when we have an open parliament and inclusion, it tends to help with transparency, accountability, and even effective participation. And this goes a long way in strengthening democracy generally. And of course, it is very, very pivotal, very crucial to modern democracies all over the world. So for me, in the last 1 year, the 10th House of Representatives, ably led by Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, and of course, Right Honorable Benjamin Kalu, already have a legislative agenda that intends to address women issues in the 10th Assembly. And we are thankful for that because we believe that the leadership of this 10th Assembly, even in the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, the leadership over there, we know that they are gender sensitive and they are also inclined to ensure that the 10th Assembly gets it right for once. Because as a nation, the women population constitutes about half of the population. And like I always say, that a nation that decides to underutilize the potentials of half of our population will be going nowhere, because we will be depriving the country of the energy of these women, the intellect, the innate capacity, you know, God's given talent that we have as women. We are highly multitasking. When you have women in power, this increases a lot of participation, it increases transparency, it increases even organizational dedication, and a lot of people benefit more. So why will we as a nation continue to deprive the nation of all these qualities? And as we speak today, Nigeria, the percentage that we have in the House is less than 4% of women representation. We have a lot of gender bills that had been rejected in the last assembly. We are looking to revisit them, and the 10th House is ready to listen to us in this regard. We have a lot of development partners that have come around to see how they can support us to ensure that Nigeria yields to at least the 35% affirmative action. And we are even saying the new campaign that I have brought on board is for us to see how we can ensure that we reject single gender lists at all levels. When we reject single gender lists at all levels, we will have a situation where we will have a political party reform, where our political parties will know that they cannot have all single gender as candidates for houses of assembly, all single gender as candidates for the House of Representatives, all single gender for council chairmen and even the councillors at the lower level. The nation has women and men. And if we are talking about democracy, if we are talking about, balancing gender parity and all that, we must ensure that inclusion comes to play. Once we have it in our electoral act, we need our electoral act to be amended, where we go to where we have candidates, where candidates must include at least a woman. You cannot have a parliament where we have all men or you have all women. I mean, it's not what it should be. We will not be having it optimally as we should. So these are some of the areas that we are looking to address. And of course, we are very positive this time around because we have a leadership that is willing to support us. So we are working hand in hand with them, and we are coming up with something very beautiful that will ensure that Nigerian women are included. And we hope that when that time comes, our colleagues in the House will vote the right way to ensure that the Electoral Act is properly.
All right, then I hope you can still hear us. Okay. I'd like to, kind of focus on some of these specific measures that you and your committee are working on, of course, to ensure. Do we still have? Okay.
Honorable Ogbara.
Yes. Okay. So you have also called for an emergency, or rather, a state of emergency on insecurity, trafficking, and drug abuse among married women and young girls, as well as the youth in the country. Can you speak to us more about this particular focus? Why did you call that state of emergency, and what's been done since you've put that forward?
Thank you very much. I'm very happy about this question because it's not even one of the questions I expect. This is a campaign that we are working on in the House of Representatives as a committee on women affairs and social development. Campaign against drug abuse, human trafficking, and even drug trafficking is a social abuse that has to be curbed. And we are calling for an emergency on this because we believe that when you are able to curb drug abuse in any nation, definitely you will be curbing almost 50% of insecurity issues, because we believe that a lot of all these crimes are perpetrated under the influence of drug. And we believe that a lot of our young people, we need to catch them young. And this is why in my own federal constituency, we are moving around all our secondary schools across board in the constituency to ensure that we catch our young people, young, discussing with them in collaboration with the Nigerian, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, and of course the National Psychiatric Hospital. So we are collaborating with them, and we are moving around all our secondary schools to ensure that we campaign to them, and we'll definitely be going even to the primary schools. So presently, the House Committee on Women Affairs and Social Development, we are moving around. We wanted to do it centrally in Abuja, but later we suggested that we should take the campaign down to the grassroots, down to the states. And this is why we have started from the North Central, where we have, we started from Niger State. We'll be moving to the north in Kano very soon in the next 1 month to campaign to all relevant stakeholders. And we're encouraging all our states, the government, officials at every level to take up this campaign. We have to continue to campaign to our young people. We have a lot of young people that are already almost their lives destroyed due to drug abuse. And we have housewives, a lot of them as well, out of, I don't know, is it loneliness or, depression or whatever it is. We have a lot of our, influential men out there. They travel all over the world. They don't know what the wives are going through at home. And we have had a lot of people come up to tell us that they need help. They need, to be rehabilitated. And we are keeping, their credentials very private, and we are trying to see how we can rehabilitate such people. We have a lot of work to do in this regard, and we need the nation at large to look into this to ensure that drug abuse is curbed to the barest minimum if we cannot eradicate it. It's a very, very high, menace that is going on, and we need, as individuals as well, it doesn't have to be the government that can work on it. We as individuals, in our own little way, in our own different ways, we have a role to play to see that we curb this. Even to our primary schools, you find out that they do a lot of juice, cakes, Indomie, different things for our young ones in schools. When we were doing the campaign in my constituency, when they ask these young children, do you know this? They even call the names of all these drugs. They know the names of all of them. Young children that you will not even believe we know all these things. So you can imagine how far these things have done. And they take them effortlessly. They take it, innocently. Some know what they are taking, they take it. But because they are young, we want to believe that they are still innocent. And they need to be educated. They need to be enlightened so that they know the dangers of taking these drugs.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ogbara. Now, you've spoken about legislative agendas. You've spoken about the advocacy you're doing in your community. But I want us to focus a bit on your role as oversight on the executive and a check on the executive arm of government as a legislator. It's been reported that the Minister of Women Affairs, Honorable Mr. Uju Kennedy, is being investigated over an alleged 510 million naira procurement fraud. Now, I believe as the chairman of the House Committee on Women Affairs, you are involved in this investigation. And I was asking if you'd be able to enlighten us more. It's been reported that there have been multiple petitions against her, both from her staff, the ministry, and from contractors. So please, can you speak more to your role in this investigation and what you've been able to uncover as a check to the executive arm of government?
Thank you very much for this question as well. I think the Minister of Women Affairs, Barrister Uju Kennedy, is being investigated by the Public Procurement Committee already. We, as a Committee of Women Affairs and Social Development, supervising her ministry, we have also, done an invitation to invite her to the committee to listen to her. But because the Public Procurement is currently investigating her. She was supposed to appear on Thursday, but it was postponed till Tuesday. There are so many petitions against her, but because we have not heard our own side of the story, we have not done the investigation, we have not heard from her, we want to wait until we get to the bottom, of this before I'm able to talk about it in public. But I'm very sure, I am 100% optimistic that definitely if she's found wanting, we will let Nigerians know. Because we are there for Nigerians, we are there because of Nigerians. If not for Nigerians, we cannot be where we are. And the best and all that we owe Nigerians is to report to them as it is and exactly as it is. So we'll definitely let you know the outcome of that investigation. It will be on Tuesday by Public Procurement Committee. And of course, the House Committee on Women Affairs, we have had several petitions as well. And I've tried, to call her to ask her about these things. But definitely, she will be appearing before the committee to explain to us. While we did our oversight the last time we went to the Ministry of Women Affairs, we had issues concerning, their records, the misappropriation of funds, and the way they were, using different analogy, different names for the same purpose, and things like that. But we have discussed with her, and we are going to finalize our investigations by the grace of God soonest. But once that is done, we'll definitely let Nigerians know. Because Nigeria belongs to all of us, and we need our ministers to work optimally to perform and get results. We need every support for this administration, for this government, and of course for Nigerians generally. Irrespective of our political affiliation, what really matters is for us to deliver to Nigerians and ensure that the taxpayers' money, and of course, Nigeria's resources are judiciously used, judiciously spent for Nigerians and nobody else. And I've always told, even we that we are political office holders, we should be mindful and we should be impactful in everything we do to ensure that we touch the lives of our people. We all know how Nigeria is today. A lot of people have their, reservations. A lot of things are expensive due to different reasons. And we know that the president of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is putting his very best to ensure that Nigeria gets to our destination. This is a president that had the political will, that had the vision. He has always been a pro-democracy activist. And he is there now. Even the logo that he uses signifies a broken chain to break people away from poverty, break people away from insecurity, break away from all sorts of negativity. So he's there now as the president. We expect him to use all those vision, all those ideas, and all those intentions that he has always had as an activist to bring everything on board. And we believe because he has what it takes. If you don't have it, you cannot give it. We believe because he has what it takes, we expect him to deliver on these dividends in the nearest future.
All right, thank you, Honorable Ogbara, and thanks for shedding light on that matter that Adesuwa raised, especially showing that women can also hold other women, into account. But just two quick questions before we wrap up on this segment. First is for you to shed more light on how soon you think that this 10th House of Reps will return to those 3 rejected bills of 2022, given the fact that the gentleman who was the Speaker of the House, as at that time, is now the Chief of Staff to the President. Has anything changed regarding those 3 bills that were rejected in 2022, and how are you going to push it, given that you have already spent 1 year and we're still saying that we will do, rather than this is what we have done as far as those 3 bills are concerned? And secondly, just your quick thoughts on, just one more part. I would just like your quick thought on the usefulness of the National Women's Center, given the fact that you spoke robustly in defense of their budget in December, January. But a lot of people don't know what is going on there, what they do, how useful it is. So talk to us about your own understanding of the role of the National Women's Center. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I will start from the last question.
All right.
I was a board member at the National Center of Women Development. That was in 2003 as a member of the board there. So I can tell you that the National Center for Women Development, now Miriam Babangida Center for Women Development, they are the ones that do a lot of training for our young ladies. They are the ones that ensure that enlightenment goes on for a lot of other areas that has to do with women development. And definitely after this program, I will try and get the Director General to appear before you here so that she can enlighten you a lot more about a lot of activities that they do. The National Center for Women Development is to enhance women development generally. They have training centers there. They train a lot of people on empowerment, activities generally, sewing, whatever it is. Even, male-dominated areas like solar panel making and a lot of other areas. They do a lot of things. So when she comes here, she'll be able to enlighten you in that regard. And like I said, their budget is very low, very, very low. You won't even believe what it is. So it's nothing to write home about for everything that they do there. They have a crèche there for young children, for mothers who have to be at work. You can put your children there, and they take care of the children. They also have a guest house there that they use for, where we have events that has to do with our young people from all over the nation and all that. So they are doing a whole lot, but I think for you to know exactly what they do, you will need the DG of the National Center, Ajay Asabe, to come here to be able to enlighten you more on that. And like you said that we have spent 1 year and you expect, I wish too, because I'm not even proud to come here to say that in the last 1 year we have not been able to address gender bills. But I want to say that the Constitution Reform Committee, we have a committee led by Right Honorable Benjamin Kalu, of which I was just added recently. We just did our retreat in Akwa Ibom just last weekend. And this is one of the areas that we spoke to. And we have agreed on the way to go. And this is why I said it on the floor of the House a few days ago, that we need political party reform. When we have political party reform, this will cut across all party lines, where all the political parties will amend even their constitutions. In the APC constitution, for instance, when we are doing our, the convention, the Congress for the elective offices, most of the time, they leave a space, they tell you, you must have, normally the woman leader is a woman, and then you have the space for physically challenged. They will tell you at the ward level, most elderly woman, they have how they spell these things out. So why can't we have it in our constitution that the candidates for all our houses of assembly, for all our houses of rep, there must be a woman, at least one woman. At least one woman. I went for IPU program in Angola recently, and in the specification for us to bring our representatives from all over the world, they insisted that there must be a woman and a youth, of which I represented the women angle. And I can tell you for free, we were supposed to vote for the president of IPU, and they insisted that any country, any delegation that came without the specified specification for you to bring a woman, you were going to lose your votes. And they lost their votes. Those that came with the women had 3 votes. And those that came with single gender list of just men could not vote. They had just 1 vote. So these are the areas that we need our nation to address. And I'm very sure that we have a president that is gender sensitive. He has the political will. He's going to support this. And it's not just about elective offices. Even our committees that we constitute, we want our men. We don't want them to be comfortable having single men, even on the high table. You just see all the men. They parade themselves there, and they are very comfortable. There's no woman there with them. Why would the women be at the background, clapping and dancing for you?
Kafilat,
one of these days, we
Ogbara.
are going to stop all that. We need the women to be right on the table. Thank you, where decisions are made.
All right, we want to thank you very much, Honorable Kafilat Ogbara. My name is Steve Ayorinde, by the way, and I must thank you for making the women vote.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Making the women vote.
The screen is not clear. I'm not seeing who is talking to me.
I understand.
My
But kudos on your job for my constituency, our Koshofe constituency. Thank you so much.
Nice to see you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us on the morning show today.
Thank you.